Welcome to another episode of the Keeping It Together podcast with me, Rachel Broughton, and Dave Burke.
Hi.
We are going to be digging into a few Psalms in the next couple of episodes. And Dave, why don't you tell me which two Psalms we're going to look at today? Because these two you're going to give to us as a pair, right?
Yeah. And everybody knows Psalm 23.
I do. I memorised it as a child.
Is that right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You could recite it.
I could. Don't test me now.
Yeah. And I was at a conference last week and we were all given a copy of a book, David Gibson, The Lord of Psalm 23. And it's fantastic. And there are loads of books about Psalm 23.
Yeah.
Very well known. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. A psalm of utter security. Even though there's darkness, there's the shadow of death, there's enemies, he feels safe, secure, and even joyful.
He feels cared for by God, right?
That's right. And we sell that, I think, in the churches as the way life should be, which is why I like Psalm 6. And Psalm 6 isn't quite Psalm 23.
Now, I've read the Psalms, Dave, but when you say Psalm 6 to me, nothing is springing to mind. I did not memorize Psalm 6 as a child.
Well, at the top of the Psalm, there's a superscript, which is the instructions given about the Psalm and the author.
Okay.
So it says, for the director of music, for the director of music with stringed instruments, according to Sheminith, a psalm of David.
Okay, so David wrote this one.
Yes, or it's attributed to David. It could be about David, but it's about David, written by David. I personally think it probably was David.
Yeah.
But no time to go at the reasons now.
So I'm expecting something in a similar vein to Psalm 23. So something where it's secure of God's presence, secure in God holding it all together.
So David said to the director of music, presumably in the temple, I want the tune Sheminith, and I want stringed instruments to accompany this. And you expect sort of violins and some really lovely kind of Disney stuff.
Yeah.
So here we go. Oh Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger or discipline me in your wrath. Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am faint. Oh Lord, hear me, for my bones are in agony. My soul is in anguish. How long, O Lord, how long? Turn, O Lord, and deliver me. Save me because of your unfailing love. No one remembers you when he's dead. Who praises you from his grave? I am worn out with groaning. All night long I flood my bed with weeping and drench my couch with tears. My eyes grow weak with sorrow. They fail because of all my foes. Away from me, all you who do evil, for the Lord has heard my weeping. The Lord has heard my cry for mercy. The Lord accepts my prayer. All my enemies will be ashamed and dismayed. They will turn back in sudden disgrace. Now, if I emailed the band and said, we're going to start the worship this weekend with that song, I might get some pushback.
You might get a little bit of pushback, yes. I'd agree, it's got a very different vibe.
How does it strike you?
It strikes me as someone in the depths of despair, somebody who is quite hopeless, really. If he's flooding his bed with weeping, he's really digging into his sorrow.
Yeah.
He's really, David, from my understanding, is somebody with a lot of reason to get a bit low. He's got a lot of reason and excuse to feel a lot of this, but you sort of don't imagine a king to be wailing and weeping in their bed, soaking their couch with tears, do you? You sort of expect them to be a little bit more put together.
I got a feeling more heads of state do this than we really. But tell us what you know about David. What's going on in his life that might kind of generate these kind of feelings?
Well, yeah, sure. So he's got some family dynamics, doesn't he?
Yep.
He's got some tricky family dynamics. If you think you've got family dynamics, you can find some comfort in David.
Some of his worst enemies would be there at the family wedding.
Sure.
Sharpening their knives.
Yeah, but he doesn't always have loyalty from his cabinet.
Nope. And they want him out. And that's serious. He doesn't know who he can trust.
No, and the ones who he feels he can trust know too much about him to let him go, right?
They know where the bodies are buried.
They do know where the bodies are buried.
Literally where the bodies are buried.
Yeah. And then obviously he has that whole fleeing. He's fearful for his life, quite often.
Yes.
And I imagine as a head of state in that period, you would be fearful for your life anyway.
It's a stressful business. And I think sometimes we have this very la-di-da, pietistic image of an Old Testament hero who is kind of walks around 2 feet above the ground and doesn't encounter the sort of things that we encounter. But David, put it bluntly, he's a late Bronze Age, early Iron Age chieftain. And a very important part of his job is to fight, but he can't trust the people who are closest to him.
Sure.
And he doesn't feel safe.
So he's got a lot of external reasons to feel this low.
Yes. Now, we don't know when this psalm was written in the context of his life, or when Psalm 23 was written. But you can say Psalm 23 is a bit of a high, and Psalm 6 is a real low. And that's as high and as low as you can get.
Yeah.
The normal life of a godly person.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because in both Psalms, he's talking about enemies. He's talking about walking through the valley of the shadow of death, even in Psalm 23, which you're calling this high.
Yes.
So it's not that his circumstances have shifted necessarily. So what has shifted?
Yeah. I suspect with David, there were moments in his life when it all got very overwhelming. And here he talks about feeling as though God is rebuking him or disciplining him. And I think a lot of us get into that situation. I'm fascinated by the writings of a Baptist preacher called Charles Haddon Spurgeon about the Psalms. He wrote a 3-volume commentary on the Psalms. And this is him writing about Psalm 6. It most frequently happens that when our pain is long and sharp and helpless and unavoidable, we begin to question the sincerity of our own estate towards God. Though at its first assault we had few doubts or fears about it, long weakness of body makes the soul more susceptible of trouble, and uneasy thoughts. And I've met over years lots of people who said, does God really love me?
Yeah.
Am I really a Christian? And the answer is yes, but you don't feel it because the physical pain or the mental pain has been so long-lasting.
And I think we have this idea in our culture, in our worldview, that when everything feels nice for us, when we're personally happy, we know that God's blessing us and we're in right relationship with him. And we sort of see those things as parallels. Yeah. We think that when we're feeling fine and we've got it all together, that must be God blessing us and that's us in right relationship with him. And when things are uneasy for us, when we have those uneasy thoughts and when we are struggling with our shame and with our anguish or the circumstances that are around us, that must mean that we've displeased God somehow, or our personal happiness seems to be this indicator as to whether God's pleased with us or not. But that can't be real, because this is exactly what you're talking about with David here. In Psalm 6, things are not okay and he's not feeling okay about the things that are happening. And yet in Psalm 23, his circumstances necessarily aren't much different, but we see that his perspective has shifted, and yet he's crying out to God in both.
He's crying out to God in both. In Psalm 23, he feels safe. You prepare a table in the presence of my enemies. My cup overflows. And I imagine him in Costa. and his enemies are sitting over there in the corner. And he's sitting there with one of those gigantic cups of coffee you buy in Costa.
Sure.
And it's flowing over the edge and feeling completely safe and completely happy. Whereas here, he's not feeling safe. He's very anxious, and psychologically he's very low. If you look at it, he's obsessed with death. Who remembers you from when he's dead? Who praises you from the grave? he's waking up in the middle of the night and bursting into tears.
Yeah.
My eyes grow weak with sorrow, they fail because of all my foes. I think you could, if you take the criteria for diagnosing depression, David may well be close to that. Now, you can't diagnose over 3,000 years distance.
No.
But he's very low. And I think these feelings about God, often when we're low, our feelings about God are muted and we wonder whether he loves us. And we begin to think, is God punishing us? Now, I suppose you wouldn't want to exclude that, but most of the time in my experience, he's not.
Yeah.
Which I think brings us to an unpalatable truth for lots of people in the atmosphere in which we live. As you say, we've equated happiness with God's blessing, sadness with God's judgment. The bad times are sometimes the best times. The bad times are sometimes the important times. I came across a lovely quote. Bogart, the famous sort of actor, American actor, said, a professional is someone who does his best performance when he doesn't feel like it. And I think that's actually quite a spiritual thing to say. That a Christian often is somebody who's doing their best work when they're feeling awful.
Yeah.
I can give you loads of examples of that. But here's David, and these rough times are part of God shaping our lives, not necessarily God judging us for something we've done wrong.
I think I like this sort of around verse 9 of Psalm 6, and it sort of says, the Lord has heard my cry.
Yeah.
And he accepts my prayer.
Yes.
And I think that message of acceptance is really important when we're feeling in that low space.
Yeah.
Or when everything's just too much and we're overwhelmed or we're in a shame spiral or all of those things. The very fact that God hears us is a comfort, and it's a comfort to David in this moment.
I think that's right. And the psalm finishes with this kind of upturn of positive faith. Pouring this out before God has made him feel better.
Yeah.
Writing this song has made him feel, actually, there is hope.
The authenticity of it.
Yeah. Now, not every psalm of lament ends with that positive note.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can't. But in this instance, he does. So what are the therapeutic pathways available to David? He can worship. He can express his pain in raw language before God. He can sing. He can be in God's presence. He can pray. All of those things are profoundly therapeutic.
Yeah.
We've got more options, actually. There's lots of help available to us, and I think we should use it. But we shouldn't forget what David is doing. Write a song about it. Write it down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole genre of music called the blues, which is about just that. The other thing about David is the way that physical symptoms have developed as a result of how
his eyes aren't working.
Yeah, and Spurgeon's good on this as well. He says he's exhausted, he can't sleep and weeps.
Yeah, his bones hurt,
Soul trouble, Spurgeon says, is often attended with great pain of body too. And so a man is wounded and distressed in every part. You feel like this, but you've got a bellyache or constant headaches or other stuff that's going on. And you've got to pay attention to your body as well as your mind. And you need to do something about that.
Yeah.
David did by writing.
Yes.
And he was actually open with others about it too. I've written this song, O Director of Music. Have a look at it. And we're going to hear it sung to the tune of Sheminith.
Yeah, I'm not open to feedback.
He's expecting this to be part of worship.
Yeah. It's a shared grief.
Yeah.
It's shared sorrow. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So the people of Israel gather, sing their hearts off to God. Oh, the king is up the spout. What are we going to do?
Yeah. King's having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. So it's worth looking hard at these difficult psalms.
Yeah.
I used to shy away from the psalms because I thought, this is just, I don't know what's going on here.
It's too emotional.
Why isn't it just cheerful worship? And it's not just cheerful worship,
No.
because that's not how we feel all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look long and hard at these difficult psalms because they're not difficult, they're reality.
Yeah, they are. I in Psalm 6, verse 6, it says, I am worn out from my groaning.
Exactly.
And I think so many of us can relate to that. I'm exhausted. I'm
Yeah.
exhausted. I'm exhausted by the state of the world. I'm exhausted with my congregation. I'm exhausted with my leaders. I'm exhausted with my family dynamics. I'm exhausted from this.
Yes.
And yet then you sort of see in Psalm 23 the rest that David finds. But I wonder whether this honesty is the pathway to that rest.
Yeah.
Whether we can only find that rest through our authentic frustration, our authentic exhaustion,
Yes.
and inviting the Holy Spirit into that.
At its worst, the Christian response to this is to put on a happy face.
Pull yourself together, put on your best
That's-
outfits.
I saw it referred to as toxic positivity,
Mm-hmm.
because in the end, it kills you. In
Yeah.
the end, it poisons you. That's at its worst. Don't ever do that. At its best, we acknowledge there's an issue, there's a problem, and we take steps to do something about this problem. If I'm like this over a long period of time, go and see a doctor, talk about it.
Yeah.
If David had a GP, he'd have gone to see his GP.
Yeah.
It's a sensible thing to do. But at the same time, don't neglect the spiritual resources available to us for handling times like this. The honesty, the worship, the prayer, the rawness.
Yeah.
Those are our ladder out of the well.
Yeah. And in Psalm 23, the response to that exhaustion is, he makes me lie down in green pastures.
Yeah.
It's this invitation from God, isn't it?
There's a lovely Psalm 3, which is given a context. It happened when David was on the run, when his son Absalom had deposed him. So this enmity had borne fruit. David's run from Jerusalem. Absalom occupies Jerusalem. David's rough sleeping in the wilderness. He has no idea what's going to happen next. And in Psalm 3, I lie down and sleep. I wake again because the Lord sustains me. I will not fear when the tens of thousands drawn up against me on every side. I think that's terrific. Now, he is an older guy now.
Yeah.
And quite often with age comes the tools to combat anxiety and low mood, but only if you've learned the lessons as you grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've gone through that. Oh, well, what a gift. Thank you, Dave, for that.
Psalms are brilliant.
They are, aren't they? Well, we look forward to doing some more of them in the next
Thank you.
episode.